I was in a bus station watching all the people that used to come home. I was in Texas, and I would come back to New Orleans to do a show in NOA, and I used to watch the people, how much hope. Here you go, remember Kit Kat. I used to watch how much hope they had coming back to the news media and said, "Come on back, everything is up and running." It was such an insult that the Black Zulu don't how do you say, controller, team this out, because it's a matter of record. The organization Zulu, with the Caucasians, the ones that were racist, and the others that didn't even care. Katrina happened right at the end of August, like 28, 29, something like that. And then what they call in February or March, they did the Mardi Gras, and they did like in a few block radius. The way on the news they showed crowds of people, but on the outskirts of like not even a half a mile radius when they was parading around, it looked like they was in Beirut or Lebanon, in the city stint of death. And you know what death, not really that many animals died, but of humans. And the majority of the blacks died. And you did not care. The blacks that was out there, the young blacks were out there murdering other blacks people. They had soldiers. Did the shows, and I showed all the soldiers they had on the New Orleans side doing it before General Andre came, which y'all call y'all homeboy. Before he came, when I was going back and forth, a friend of mine, I had khakis on and a mask. They thought I was with the government in the grave team, remember, Cat? And a friend just had bought a brand new truck. He had a presidential hat. It was just one of the hat he just happened to wear. And we traveled all over the city, and usually we just saw polices in packs all the time, riding around. And the soldiers bulldozing a lot of things, but at night, you had police killing people. You had soldiers killing people. And in the daytime, way before Andre came and that devil first woman governor that said that we're not gonna help when the storm comes and we're not gonna help after that, well, they were true to it. And today, there are places that are still abandoned, and all you Black Caucus leaders in Louisiana, y'all disgust me. Especially some of these people in New Orleans, you disgust me. Especially the ones that are so rich or think they're still well off. The people are suffering. The city council that revives of the white citizen council in New Orleans with Stacey Head, the matriarch, that old lady Jackie Clausen, but best is Stacey Head when Doc Willard's daughter for the Ninth Ward used to fight. Stacey Head wasn't even a territory, or they would fight against it. And Stacey Head would boast because she had FBI backing. You had Vitta and a bunch of other people, the ones that thought about fighting. They stood down because the government, certain evil forces in the government, was sick on the people that was in charge. The way they knocked down a lot of leaders. But if those leaders were doing wrong, or if they said they were doing wrong, they were taken out. And you blacks stood there and still didn't fight. I'm talking about the ones that were well off. Because they say when you have great authority, it takes great responsibility. It's a great responsibility, remember, Cat? And a minute y'all bowed down. The only great thing y'all did do is you voted naked in, you had those buses, you rallied together and got the people that suffered, they came back. A minute came back, and you got naked in. And he was deceived for a while on the other side, but he decided to try to do the right thing. And after they finished using him, but he slipped in and got back in, he's paying the cost now when he decided to kind of do right. Y'all dogs should be standing behind after the fact. He was naive and green, working in the system, and guess what? You got the Mexicans, they did knock down the poor people with businesses, but even the man behind the camera, in time, the Arabs is a front. The Caucasians use the Arabs. They got a lot of the businesses. And the Mexicans, they're bringing in their money. They already knocked the poll down. A lot of you Catholics that was in charge, there are more black judges, and the Caucasians, racist Caucasians that call themselves white. But like I said, I ain't never seen a white person, but in a funny book, they used to boast, we'll never get a black man. If we do, usually he'll be Catholic. But that's about to change. All you black Catholics that still have a little position, They almost in place. They're almost in place. That's all right, okay?
I'm not going to answer.
Yeah. They're almost in place. When they get enough Mexicans that are intellectual, enough Arabs, enough Chinese, those of you that in key positions, it's just a matter of time. Then the racist Caucasians and the filthy rich ones, y'all won't have a place. They're genocide now, people of color all over the United States. But you know something? It disgusts me. It disgusts me to see that you that have a means still don't fight. What, you scared of police? Scared of FBI? Stacey Head used to campaign FBI backing me. And they did every rotten thing to make sure blacks didn't get money. Now they were 8, 9 years or so, they're still errors. But see, that's the way y'all mentality. Y'all used to always getting crumbs. It disgusts me when I'm in the city and I see your so-called leaders, so-called religious leaders too. I had a record of putting on the most shows dealing with Katrina and the suffering and the murdering of our people. But I need to stop right now because like they would say, the dam in the river. I use a lot of those words and Mother Falstaffs and son of a biscuits. But to those of you that shoot fit, you know who you are. You know I can't stand you. It's a shame. More money is being spent on new projects and other projects that the blacks could have had still don't have. That's right. Even they claim they're going to cut the funding for this station. Well, at least for the shows, they have a few conscious shows where some black people do talk about what's going on in the city. They shut that down now where we just in the city. That was a plan. And then yet they tell us a few years ahead of time that we're going to eventually cut you off in 2015 because there's no funding, but yet your black essence and your football games and everything else, they're constantly giving more money out, and y'all won't even stand up to fight. I say if I wasn't called for Elohim Yahweh, I wouldn't stand up for you, but I live for this here. Remicat, you talk now.
I like to know which one of y'all gonna take the charge for the murders you commit as you use Katrina as a cloak to carry out your diabolical deeds. You're gonna have to answer for them because Brother Hosea telling you all the time that Yahweh is real. He watches and sees, and if it wasn't for a time appointed, you would have been dealt with already. And what I want to know again, we know of your plans for us, but once again, Yahweh Elohim is real, and he's watching. When you plotting, he's planning. Don't forget that.
Remicat, it's all over the United States though, but you know something? After the mass murder, the Americans sent ships for tsunamis and everything else within hours. Ships, airplanes, helicopters. But yet, we had 9 days our people suffered. All through the northern part of Louisiana and outskirts, guess what? They had makeshift morgues at night. They were covering up a lot of bodies and stuff where they claim it was only about, I forgot now, about 2,000, something. It was over 20,000 people that died. And in the Jefferson Parish area, in the daytime, they used to have black soldiers on the Jefferson Parish side. And on the New Orleans side, all Caucasian soldiers, but these boys were not local. They were usually, and I did early shows on a guy named Joe Jones show, and I showed pictures. When I went to all these different checkpoints, they were Caucasians from out of state. But you know something? I'm just speaking history, so don't blank it out. But they were so clever with their plan. The reason why they didn't have local National Guard or even blacks, because if they'd have saw what was happening to their people, yeah, they would have snapped. They would have snapped and turned the guns. So I'm not starting an uprising or nothing like that, so don't blank it out. Be true to yourself. I've said this on early shows, but I saw this and I said it on TV. They helped genocide, and to the day, y'all act like nothing has happened. And then y'all still cry, oh, we finally moving on in the Ninth Ward, in the Central City. We finally moving on. And yet a lot of y'all, even some of the most radicals people that have a right to say for human rights and preservation, even they have sold out for the dollar now. Mitch Landry mechanized machine, he worked under that system with Foster. That after they put Edwards in jail, that's when they started. Louisiana was the main last hub, New Orleans at least, because before you go all around America, major cities that call themselves black cities, there's slums and everything else. But the fleur-de-lis, not the rubber flag, but the fleur-de-lis that they used to brand our people with, flew like crazy, because that was the battle cry, fleur-de-lis. That's right. We got about 3 minutes, Remacan.
I'd like to leave you with this statement. It should be a universal statement for all black people, for all poor people throughout the planet.
And conscious people, if you're Caucasian, because a light-skinned Caucasian is nothing but a light-skinned black person that don't know his own identity. Y'all need some help.
You listen to this. There's nothing I like better than stopping an idea whose time has come to pass. I leave you with the universal greeting of peace and paradise. Shalom Aleichem.
Hebrew Nation, and all you bootlicking dogs out there that you perpetrate on the TV and the radio like you for the people. You sound like us, you look like us, and even at times you smell like us, but you're on the tape. I couldn't live a life that I put on pants just like another man, and I lick his boot the way this other man, when he sit at his table, he teach his kids and his wife, his woman, they say, oh, that black leader there is somebody hot. They say, no, he's on our payroll too. Y'all some sad black folks, the ones that's supposedly in charge. Hebrew Nation and the conscious people, whether you light-skinned or dark-skinned, because there are a lot of righteous Caucasians, but the majority of you that call yourself Caucasian and white, you don't need a Katrina to see a psychiatrist. Y'all are taught that you're superior, that you do all kind of atrocities, and you will die and go to hell. Shalom Aleichem. And you blacks too.
Faith without work is nothing, so do your work.
Thank you, Remacan.
You're welcome, brother Hosea. Shalom Aleichem.
Peace and love unto you. That's how you can contact the apostle. Hebrew Nation, be strong, and all you people that are deceived, come out of deception. You call it on demons.